What if I were to suggest that you play a key role in the awakening world? And that you are watching this because you have heard the call. We can start right now by opening our hearts and minds. Welcome to the awakening world.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Awakening World. And welcome to our moment of choice. This is a very powerful theme that we're exploring all weekend long, and I'm glad to have all of you listening. Whether you're watching us live in our Zoom room, whether you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, or if you're watching one of the recordings a day from now, a week from now, a year from now, welcome. I do want to invite those of you that are watching on Facebook or YouTube to consider coming into our Zoom room. And it's really easy to do that. Just go to the globalpeacetribe.com, globalpeacetribe.com, and register. And you can get all the links to all of our shows for the next 2 months for free. Just use the promo code of New Friend. New Friend. So globalpeacetribe.com, register, promo code New Friend. Come on in, because it's easier for us to chat with all of you. Now, I will be tracking what's happening on Unify and on some of our Facebook pages, but it's easiest for us to track your thoughts, your comments, and your questions if you're in our Zoom room. Also, that way you get on our email list and you'll get the replays and the announcements about our upcoming shows and replays to all the previous ones. So, thank you. I also really want to thank Ellen Steinfeld and New Realities for carrying us on YouTube, and our friends John and Summer Raymer, who through the Sign Network get us out to over 100 groups and pages. And finally, welcome to everybody watching on Unify. I especially appreciate that we've got people from all over the world that watch us through Unify. So thank you and welcome. So our moment of choice is the theme, and it's the theme because this wonderful book that's a hardcover is now available in paperback. And it's an incredible anthology. You're going to be hearing about it throughout the weekend, and you're going to be meeting some of the authors. A lot of you that were with us last night, we met two beautiful authors. I was so impressed with both of them. And Reverend Deb, who we'll see in a second, you've done such a great job of bringing people into this incredible weekend, where we get to meet some of the authors of this powerful anthology. And among the people that you're going to see tonight is John Perkins. John's in the house, and I'm kind of a big fan of John. Obviously, he's a best-selling author, Confessions of an Economic Hitman. I really appreciate all the work he's done with Pachamama Foundation and his books and work with the indigenous people and helping us to really bring in their wisdom that we so desperately need. We also have Kurt Johnson in the house, and Kurt is an extraordinary scientist, spiritual teacher, evolutionary leader, Renaissance man. It's remarkable how many books, scientific papers, and I learned today even butterfly species that have been named after him. He is a remarkable human being, and we're grateful to have you in the house with us. We also have always, I think Chief Phil is here. Where's Chief Phil? There he is. Chief Phil Lane, our beloved brother, is with us. And of course, you've seen Phil on Saturday Night Live and on The Awakening World. And Phil always brings so much passion. Phil, I just love you so much. And I'm so grateful that you're with us tonight. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We're also going to have, as always, music, and Dr. Ivy Hilton is back. You've heard her before. She's going to speak and she's going to play music and take us on a sound journey. So welcome, Dr. Ivy. I'm so glad you're with us. And we also have Travis Puntorelli. And Travis is a wonderful musical artist and a friend. He has even written original song with the theme of our moment of choice. So we're all eager to hear the world debut of the new theme song for our moment of choice. And he's practically become the house musician. Omoshar is in the house, and he's going to be playing a little bit more music with us. So we're excited about that. And we're also going to see some videos of Greg Braden, Carolyn Meese, I'm forgetting somebody, Jude Kervin, and Reverend Michael Beckwith. Little clips. They're all authors in our moment of choice. And so we're going to play some video recordings of each of them. And they're all filled with wisdom. But all of this happens in the beginning. There was Rev Deb, and it was good. And I've so enjoyed getting to know this wonderful woman who is, she's very involved in Evolutionary Leaders Network, bringing it all together, the Source of Synergy Foundation. And she's the glue that holds all 200 plus evolutionary leaders together in some remarkable configurations. And she's who's really put this weekend together. So, Rev Deb, thank you so much for all the wonderful work you do. And tell us what our moment of choice means to you.
Oh, it's such a big question. To me, our moment of choice is the words that best describe the time we're in right now. We can't continue the way we've been. Human civilization is destroying our natural environment, and we're destroying one another. We have to turn the ship around, you know? Mm-hmm. And this is it. This is the moment. This is the moment of extraordinary possibility when the level of chaos in the world reaches the breaking point where real transformational change can break through. And I think there's no way to go around it. We have to go through it. Mm-hmm. And I know that everybody on this call experienced that during the last couple of years, during the pandemic. It was really brought home to us. And the book came out right in the middle of the pandemic and before the start of the war in Ukraine. So the challenges are in our faces every day. We know that if we don't address climate change, the human species will not survive. We have to change our ways. We have to relearn how to live in harmony with the earth and with one another. And this is the time, and it's urgent. This is our moment of choice.
Beautifully stated. Beautiful. Now, my memory is that Greg Braden originally came up with the title of the book, and then you built a whole book around that title. Shall we hear what Greg has to say about this?
I'd be delighted for everybody to hear what he said when this book came out in 2020.
Hello, everyone. Greg Braden here. Some of you know me as a scientist in the scientific community. I'm a degreed earth scientist, a degreed geologist. Some of you know me as an author. You've read many of my books. You've been to many of the programs and the events that I've shared with my colleagues around the world for the last 35 years. But what you may not know is I'm also a proud contributor to a brand new work, a new book with 43 of the leading thinkers in the world. The book is titled Our Moment of Choice. I just got my copy in the mail and I'm sharing it with you right now. Our Moment of Choice. This is a book about you and me, where we are in our world right now, what's happening in our world right now. You know, we are living a time of extremes. I know that, and you know that. Our world is changing, your life is changing, my life is changing. But the thing is, we're not going to think our way out of the suffering that the world has brought to our doorstep. We're not going to think our way out of the crises of climate change and what that means to us and the way we live our lives. We're not going to think our way out of social injustice. We're not going to think our way out of a collapsing global economy. We must make choices. And I think this may be one of the hardest things for us, because how do we choose unless we know what choices are available to us? And that is why I'm so honored to be a contributor to this book. I want you to know, I wrote the introduction for the book. I also have a chapter of the book. If I were you listening to me right now, I would be asking the question, well, who else is in the book? Now, I can't read all the authors alphabetically in no particular order. I'm just going to go through and just give you a sampling of some of the great minds and the beautiful hearts, dear friends, colleagues, spiritual brothers and sisters that I'm honored to share this book with. So I'm going to begin with the A's. Eben Alexander, Robert Atkinson, Michael Beckwith, Deepak Chopra, Jude Kervin, Larry Dossey and his wife Barbara Dossey are in there. They are co-authoring one of these contributions. Steve Farrell, David Gershon, Gene Houston, Barbara Marx Hubbard, J.J. Hurtak, Kurt Johnson, Locke Kelly, Irvin Laszlo, Bruce Lipton, Lynn McTaggart, James O'D, John Perkins, Elizabeth Satorius, Claudia Wells, Diane Williams, David Sloan Wilson, and so many others. Now, I'm feeling like I want to go through and read everybody in here, and I just can't do that right this minute, but I wanted to just give you a sense. These are some of the world's leading thinkers in their respective professions that have come together to pool their wisdom and their expertise. In this book, there is over 500 years of collective wisdom from all the people in this book that have been doing what they've been doing most of their adult lives, pooling that wisdom into a new story. And that new human story is a beautiful story of hope and possibility. It's also a real story. We are realists about realistically what we face in the world, what we face in our lives, and realistically what choices we can make. So I'm going to invite you to check out this book. It's at the website, ourmomentofchoice.com. It's the title of the book.com. Check out the book. Drop us a line. Let me know how you feel about the contributions in the book. You know, it's interesting to me. There are no accidents in the universe. This book was designed, it was created before the pandemic, before the lockdowns, before the economic downturns, because everyone in this book had a sense that we were at a critical turning point. And I think the timing could not be better. So check out the book. Let me know how you think about it. And thank you for sharing a little bit of your time with me today.
He says it beautiful. Both of you, between your introduction and his, it's pretty powerful.
And really, that scope of the authors who contributed to the book is just extraordinary. And what's fun about the book is that they're very short chapters. So you get to sample such an array of visionary thinking from beautiful heart-centered evolutionary leaders in very easy to digest chapters. So, well, I'm partial.
Understandably. Well, you know, as you know, Deb, because you watch a lot of our shows, music is a big part of our Saturday night show. We've been doing this, I've been doing shows on Saturday night since the start of the pandemic. And we always want to combine inspiration with information and then hopefully taking action. So we're going to continue.
And your next musical guest is not only inspirational, but also a member of the Evolutionary Leaders Circle. So
well, now you got to tell everybody about what the Evolutionary Leaders Circle network is.
Well, the Evolutionary Leaders Circle is a community of people whose work is at the edge of the evolution. It's just that simple. And it started with a very small group of 35 people. It started with Deepak Chopra and many well-known writers such as Greg Braden and Bruce Lipton and Jean Houston and Barbara Marx Hubbard. And it has expanded over the years to now include 240 evolutionary leaders in all different fields, including spiritual leaders like Dr. Ivy Hilton.
That's right. And so here we are. We're all
and hosts of The Awakening World, like
The Awakening
Scott
World.
Katamas.
I'm honored to be in your company. So anyway, here we are. And you know, everyone watching and listening, you all are evolutionary leaders. We all are imaginal cells in the butterfly forming of the new paradigm. Absolutely everyone is important. But right in this moment, we're going to put our full attention on Dr. Ivy Hilton, who's going to lead us on a beautiful little musical journey, an opportunity to drop in deeper. You've seen her on my show before, but for those of you who are new, Dr. Ivy Hilton is a holistic, integrative health practitioner. She specializes in contemplative interventions for wholeness and well-being. She is a remarkable woman, very multi-talented. She's an international sound healer, sacred performance artist, nationally certified restorative justice trainer. Lord knows we need that in our world. Mindfulness licensed psychotherapist, recording artist, and concert soprano vocalist. Wow, what a beautiful combination. What a remarkable being. And Dr. Ivy, I'm so honored to have you with us.
Well, thank you so very much. I'm grateful for this moment and this opportunity. And I just want to invite everyone to just sit back and relax. I'm actually wanting to share with you from a new project that I just released called Frequency of Love. And they are sonic meditations using the alchemy singing crystal bowls and the voice. And there's some Om in here, that universal toning, that wherever you are, as you are watching this program, I invite you to join me with the Om and really allow that vibration to fill your entire being. So let us begin.
Manifest TV, unknown artist. Manifest TV, unknown artist. Manifest TV, unknown artist.
Okay, what's happening?
Manifest TV, unknown artist.
Just breathe. Continue to breathe and just breathe through the nose, filling your lungs with air. And exhale. Breathe. Welcome to your sacred space in your mind. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. Bring your awareness to your inner mind. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. Bring your awareness to your thoughts as they float one by one. Becoming greater than what and who we are. Allow your shoulders to droop down, 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 deeper and deeper into relaxation. Awareness, intention, is flowing around your entire being. The mind is a part of your invisible body. And it is time to prepare your mind and your body for our moment of choice. Gently close your eyes. And right now, close your eyes. And bring your awareness to the center of your heart chakra. Place your hands on your lap, palms facing upward. Sit with your breath. Feel the coolness of your breath as you inhale through the nose and exhale through your mouth, settling in with a total sense of joy. Listen to the sounds of healing energy. The love of this moment. Relax. Breathe and relax. Prepare yourself for our moment of choice. Om Shanti. Shanti Om.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ivy. Thank you. And I'm going to keep the spotlight on you for a moment, and I'm also going to let people know that you do some really beautiful sound vibronics experiences. And so you're doing a sonic meditation tour. And so we can learn all about it by going to DrivySoundSpa.com. But tell us a little bit about that. What's happening here?
Well, I've just recently released the new EP entitled Frequency of Love. And that is 5 sonic meditations that I have put together, and you can find it on Dr. Ivy shadia.bandcamp.com, or you can go to my website is Dr. Ivy, IVY, soundspa.com, and you can go in and download the new app that I have. It's called Sonic Mind Streaming for Emotional Wellness, and you can go to the Bandcamp website and download the 5 sonic meditations that are designed for deep healing and soul reflection.
Wow. Well, we're going to hear more from you. We'll show those websites, and our trusty producer, Debbie Johnson, will be putting it in the chat box. But I so enjoy the beautiful sounds and your voice. Oh my God, it's so beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah, you just take us into such a beautiful place. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And thank you
Thank
for
you.
learning how to work all the technologies. I mean, it's like, God bless you for managing all the technologies and maintaining that beautiful, calm, centered spaciousness. Thank you so
Give
much.
thanks. Thank you.
And we're going to be seeing more of Ivy in a little while tonight. Well, Reverend Deb, you've got a very special person to introduce.
I think I'm still in the ethers where Dr. Ivy brought me. Thank you. That was just magnificent. Thank you, and how good to open our hearts to our moment of choice. Thank you so much. Beautiful job. Well, it's my honor to introduce John Perkins. I just love this man. He's so special, and his background is so unique. Imagine, I know a lot of you read his seminal work, Confessions of an Economic Hitman. So you know that as an economist, he participated in some of the, we could call them the evils on this planet, right, John? And yet his work now, his mission is for the entire world to take on a life economy. And it's amazing that he's able to hold the darkness and the light that way, that his chapter is actually called Reasons for Optimism. So I can't wait to hear what John wants to share with us tonight about why this is truly our moment of choice.
Well, thanks, Deborah and Dr. Ivy. Thank you for that beautiful meditation, and thank you all for being here. It's great to be here because we are in this moment of choice, and this is an incredibly important time. You know, I spent a lot of time with Indigenous people in many parts of the world, but particularly in the Amazon, where I was a Peace Corps volunteer from 1968 to 71, and go back every year. But Indigenous people there, also ones in Indonesia, Iran, Egypt, Saudi Arabia, many places where I've worked, will tell us that we're all born at a particular time, into a particular family, into a particular situation in life, because we have a mission in life. And Indigenous people are very, very strong at looking at their missions. You know, we kind of look at goals, like go get a good education, find a good spouse, find a good job, you know, that kind of thing. Those are goals, but they talk in terms of mission. And they'll say that people born right now are incredibly blessed because our mission is to participate in this moment of choice. And beginning way back in the late 60s, when I was living in the Amazon, I began hearing these prophecies, the prophecy of the eagle and the condor, the prophecy of the Mayan prophecy of 2012. And then later in Indonesia and in the Middle East, there's prophecies. They all say that we are at a very critical time in human existence. We are at a moment of choice. And that's a wonderful opportunity. But they also say, it'll be difficult if we don't take that opportunity. Basically, they might not use this terminology, but I'll use it, that we are the pilots of spaceship Earth, this beautiful spaceship that we're on. We're the pilots, and we've been navigating toward disaster. It's time to choose a new navigation system, to reboot it. And many of the indigenous people have said that throughout that we are being shown that Mother Earth is giving us warnings, that she's going to just shake us off like so many fleas if we don't do a better job, if we don't become better stewards. And they will point toward the destruction of the rainforests, the rising oceans, and for the island peoples. Up in the Andes, the melting of the glaciers. They will point to all those and say, Pachamama, Mother Earth, is twitching. She hasn't shaken us off yet, but she's giving us a strong message that she's prepared to do that. We better listen. And you and I, all of us, we are born at this incredibly important, blessed time to wake up to this mission. It's a consciousness revolution, and it's shaking the world. Before the pandemic, I had the opportunity to travel to every continent, and since then I've done it more virtually. I've taught at an MBA program in China, spoken at big events, shared the stage with President Putin. I don't know whether I want to admit that right now, but in St. Petersburg, Russia, and just many, many different places. But everywhere I go, I see that people are waking up. There's a change of consciousness. And that's the first step, but that has to lead to taking actions. And, as I go back to look at this idea of Pachamama twitching and shaking us, I realize that we've been getting all these messages, the hurricanes, the fires, the earthquakes, the melting oceans, the melting glaciers and rising oceans. And we've tended to look at those as local events. We may say, hey, that's climate change, it's causing this. But we really look at it as local. Like, hey, if I survive a hurricane, the outside world's going to come to my aid. They're going to deliver bottled water and food and help me rebuild. This local idea. The pandemic has taught us that it's global, that we're all in this together. That too is nature speaking out. This coronavirus has come out of nature. It's part of Pachamama. It's a gift. If we look at it that way, it's shouting out to us. And I don't want to downplay the terrible suffering and the people have gone through, and the loss of loved ones and so on and so forth. But in fact, the pandemic has shown us that when we know that we have to change, we can change. We've all changed. Everybody on this planet has made changes. In fact, basically every life form has been impacted, even deep in the Amazon. And we've realized that we can change when we have to change, and we can even enjoy aspects of that change. And so this message is coming through very, very strongly now. At the same time, human beings, we're acting rather foolishly, to say the least. We've all seen what's going on. We thought things like the invasion of the Ukraine were behind us. That the global empire building was done more. I have written about this, that we kind of dropped the military type of approach when we saw it didn't work well in Vietnam and then in Afghanistan, and the Russians saw it didn't work well in Afghanistan, but here it is back. And so we're being pushed. We're really being pushed. We're being pushed to wake up, and we are waking up. There's a huge change of consciousness, but now we're being pushed to take action, because the first step is a new perception, a change of consciousness. A reality is totally molded by our perceptions. Our perceptions have changed radically. We are getting these new perceptions. That's beginning to change our reality. That then changes our actions. And once we start to change our actions, we change our perceptions even more. And it's a mushrooming thing. This is the moment of choice. This is the one that's been prophesized by cultures around the world for millennia. They've been prophesizing this. The Mayan prophecy of 2012 goes back several thousand years. We don't know how far back. And the same with the eagle, same as all of them. They go back pre-biblical times. And but now they're coming to fruition. We are at that time. And again, I just want to leave with the idea that I think we all should feel blessed that we're part of it. It's easy to be fearful. It's easy to say, well, I wish this wasn't happening. Well, it is happening. And you and I are in positions to do something about it. But we absolutely must do it. The moment of choice is here, and we must choose to take the necessary actions to turn things around. And we must come together as a global community. It can't be us against the Chinese or us against the Russians, for that matter. We need to change that paradigm where we have to understand that we can disagree with people on many different things. We can disagree with the Chinese on many things. They can disagree with us, but we must come together as a community that recognizes that we have one goal that we have to accomplish together. And that is this transition from what the economists are increasingly calling a death economy, a degenerative economic system that's destroying us, to a life economy that pays people to clean up pollution, regenerate destroyed environments, recycle, and develop technologies that don't ravage the earth. That's our challenge, and we are all blessed to be part of it. So I encourage you to enjoy this time and take it very seriously, and look at what it is you specifically can do. What touches your heart that you most want to do to participate in this? Thank you.
Thank you, John. And before we let you go, one of our Zoom people is asking, well, John, what do you think are the necessary steps we can take? Now, you've outlined several, but is there any other specific action that you would encourage individuals to take?
I think we all know about minimizing consumption and treating the planet better, and cutting back on eating meat or don't eat it at all. I become a vegetarian fairly recently. Those are all, we all know those things. I don't need to go over them. I like to talk, though, about each and every one of us needs to look at what we each want, what will give us the most satisfaction. So I think there's several questions we can answer. We can ask ourselves. 5 of them. I'll very quickly go through them. One is, what do I want to do for the rest of my life? What will bring me the greatest satisfaction? Question number 2, how do I do that in a way that helps others, that helps the planet, that makes the transition from a death to a life economy? So what I would say, what I most want to do for the rest of my life is write books. I love to write. So 2, I'm going to write books about doing that. 3, what's stopping me? What's getting in the way? Oh, I don't have enough time to write. 4, when I touch that jaguar, when I face that block, that thing that's saying you don't have enough time to write, I change my perception. I say, hey, I can watch an hour less of television 3 nights a week and write or every night. And then 5 is, what actions do I take? And a writer has to write and write about these sorts of things, but it has to come from our heart. I have a good friend who's a carpenter, and he would say, I want to work with wood in my hands. And how do I do that helps the earth? I work with sustainable materials. What's stopping me? Well, my clients don't want to pay the extra price from sustainable materials. How do I change that perception? I tell my clients it's not a cost, but that extra price is an investment in the future for them and their children. And then the actions I take is I build with sustainable materials, and I keep telling them and their children, listen, your parents are paying for me to build this house or this cabinet with sustainable materials because it's an investment in your futures. And every one of us can do that, but we have to do, each individual, we've all got a role to play in this, and it's different for all of us. It's very important that we follow our hearts, that we do what brings us the greatest satisfaction so that we won't burn out.
Yeah. Thank you, John, for that. And yeah, so everybody, think about what does bring you great joy when you're in alignment with your divine purpose. What is that? No more excuses. We got to do our divine purpose. I want to just remind everybody that all things John Perkins take place at his website, which is his name, johnperkins.org. And John, I'm wondering, are you going to be, do you have any, I know that you lead people on amazing journeys and events. Do you got any coming up that we can think about joining? I see this is a little bit past. Do you have any future events coming up?
Yeah,
Tours?
I think there's a new website that has the new dates. Yes, that Guatemala trip is happening in January to the Mayan people to work on the, explore. They have incredible wisdom about. They've gone through this themselves. They destroyed their culture by cutting the trees and draining the swamps. That's in January. And before that, in December of 2022, a trip to the Amazon. And that should be on the website too at this point. Well, there it is.
Okay.
I think, yeah.
Let's
December,
see.
yeah, there
There
it
we
is.
go.
December
Yeah,
2nd.
exactly.
The
So,
next one down is Touching the Jaguar, which is January 12th. And then after that, I'm teaching at Blue Spirit in Costa Rica, which was founded by the founder of the Omega Institute. And after that, which isn't on there yet, I don't think, oh no, let's see, this one's in the Bahamas, Shivananda, an ashram in the Bahamas. And I guess the Blue Spirit one is not up there yet because they haven't put it on their website. But yeah, there's a lot of things coming up and I would
boy,
love
those are very
to
cool.
join me.
Very cool.
JohnPerkins.org.
JohnPerkins.org. All right. John, thank you so much for your contributions to our world and being such a positive role model for the Global Peace Tribe and all of the imaginal cells coming together. Thank you so much, John.
You're welcome. Thank you for all that you guys do and for being present here and making this happen. I deeply appreciate it.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you. I'm going to bring Rev Deb up so she has an opportunity to say thank you. And then we'll go on to Travis. But Rev Deb, anything you want to say?
I think that's the key. What John was saying was really the key to the entire book.
Mhm.
This is a compendium of evolutionary visions that will give us hope for the future. And each chapter has action steps that are suggested. And the whole idea of behind this book is to inspire every reader to be part of this moment of choice. And I know that everyone who watches this program is in that community, the whole Global Peace Tribe. Everyone is yearning to make a difference at this critical time. And I love the way John outlined how the way to do that is to follow our hearts.
Beautiful. Well, this next person is going to be an example of that because we all have a role to play. And we're about to meet Travis Puntorelli. And Travis is a most magical fellow. I'm going to put the spotlight on Travis. This is who I foreshadowed that he has actually created a song we're about to hear for the very first time for our moment of choice. And Travis is an elementary school teacher, but what's cool about it is he is dedicated to really working with his children and helping them to develop love of nature, love of life. He designs fantasy worlds. He has 2 children of his own, and he's a wonderful songster. And as you're going to see, he's got a very whimsical spirit. And so as I was putting the show together, I knew that, some of what, John Perkins talks about is pretty heavy, and I thought, well, let's balance it out with that kind of whimsical nature that Travis brings, because it's so important for us to stay lighthearted and stay into the joy. So with that, Travis, tell us about the song you've written for tonight.
Thanks, Scott. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
Excellent. The song tonight, I was just meditating on some of the writings from the book and really thrilled with them. Especially one of them touched me, the one by Constance Buffalo. Really hit home, and a cool story about sort of a vision quest that led to carrying back some things that needed to go back to the earth in a good way, and doing that in an excellent way. And so I was meditating on that, and this image comes to me of sort of these two. The song is a sketch, if you can imagine, like maybe out of charcoal. It's got 3 little verses to it, and there's these 2 divine beings looking at each other for the first time in a long time, or maybe one of them is just realizing that they've been looking for a long time. and they're looking into each other's eyes and realizing all of these things. And it's got 3 verses, and the one of them is sort of dark, and then the second one is sort of like a personal awakening, and the third one is the whole world awakening. So I'm just going to dive into it, if that's all right. Another thing about the lightness too is so much of my own journey has been liberated through humor. So I hope this is all right. When I looked at you at last, you'd been looking for so long that your tears that wash the world like the rains had come and gone. They had fallen on the earth. It had been 100 years, and the cracked and weathered black desert longed to feel the water there. When at last I smelled the air, it was dark and full of smoke. How my lung began to burn, for the flame was growing close. It was then I heard the joke, how strange and out of place, how irreverent, how decadent, the smile on my face. Ooh, in the end there will be seeds and starts, exploding stars, unity, humor, you and me. When I finally looked at you, I'd been looking for so long that my eyes that hid from view set their rains to pouring down, then in torrents towards the earth, coursing rivers, lakes and streams, salty oceans, shining seas, and my heart along with thee, sending mist into the air, vapor vanquishing the smoke. And I laughed again anew, where I first had heard the joke. Then at last I got the joke. It was funny, seemed to be someone knocking at my door. Someone knocking, it was me. Ooh, in the end there will be seeds and starts, exploding stars, unity, humor, the gates, the fifth world open, inviting the strangest of this world onto its evolution. We'll lose fear of death, fear of fight, fear of lifting our voices. Oh, this is the moment of choices, choosing to sing or be voiceless, choosing to see or be blind. When at first I looked at you, you'd been laughing for so long, and at last I really knew you were right and I was rolling on the music of your song. It was ringing through the air, every thunderclap and canticle, every bird band singing madrigals, and the forest joined the choir, and the mountains sang the lead. Every flower, every seed every fern curl and awakening world I never knew. It was ancient, it was new, it was grateful, it was great. It is still, so we'll celebrate. In the end, there will be seeds and stars, exploding stars. Unity, humor, the gates of the fifth world open, inviting the strangers of this world onto its groove. Evolution will lose fear of death, fear of flight, fear of lifting our voices up. This is our moment of choice, yup. This is our moment to raise our hands, raise our hearts, raise our eyes and choose. Dance.
Oh, wow. That was, I got tears. I got tears at the end. Yeah, that was pretty amazing.
Thank you, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Whew. Yeah, wow.
We can't do this without the poets.
Oh, the poets.
Well, in Travis's case, Rev Deb, you're close. He actually refers to himself as a balladeer, spelt Balladir, which is his website, balladeer.com.
Beautiful.
Anachronistic songs from a modern day bard. Hearken here and hire him here. So that's where we can learn more. And, you know, we support so many of our musicians through Patreon. Kristen Hoffman and Cornflower and Nina Gray, so many of the people that you see, I personally support through Patreon. I'm going to support Travis from now on Patreon, and it's a wonderful way to do that. So please go to his website. Please support him on Patreon, and luckily Travis is going to play another song for us to close out the show at the end of our evening. Anything you want to say, Rev Deb?
Just how important music is. It just goes right to our hearts. And really, I think that's where the source of our changes comes from. You know, if we're going to make a different choice, if we're going to have a different world, we can ride there on the waves of song.
Yeah, the artists are always ahead of the curve, always. Travis, thank you. That was beautiful. And we'll see you in a little while.
Thanks, everybody.
Rev Deb, you've got another special introduction.
I do. It is always a challenge for me to introduce Dr. Kurt Johnson because he's such an extraordinary person. He has such a rich and unique background, and he is able to hold so much information in his mind and in his heart. He has been an extraordinary benefit to the Evolutionary Leaders Circle in taking on our new synergy circles. We now have, I think we're going on 15 synergy circles, which are action areas that you can see on the website at evolutionaryleaders.net/synergy circles, because many of these are starting to open to people who are not in the Evolutionary Leaders Circle. And Kurt remembers who everybody is and what books they wrote and what their ideas are. And he's just a master networker, and he's a man of so many gifts. And I was so grateful that he took on this project as one of the co-editors of our Moment of Choice. And he also wrote a piece with our fellow co-editor, Bob Atkinson, as well as a chapter with Dr. David Sloan Wilson. So I can't wait to hear what Kurt wants to talk about this evening about why now is really our moment of choice.
Yeah, so Deborah, thank you. Actually, my job is really easy tonight because I get to talk first as an editor and then also as a host of what's coming up from the Evolutionary Leaders. So I was really privileged to be one of the editors along with Rev Deb and Dr. Robert Atkinson of this book, Our Moment of Choice. And this book is just as relevant today being released in paperback as it was when it was first released by Beyond Words, Simon & Schuster. And that's because, as John and all of our other speakers have said, this is a moment of choice. And it's a moment now to remember, again, reprising what John said, that this is not only just a moment of choice, but it's a time for assessing our evolutionary visions and our hopes for the future, that optimism that John talked about, because we are in a landscape that includes some bad news and also some good news. And it's a tug of war really between challenges, really severe challenges, and the solutions that our species is demanded to come up with. So those areas of engagement where those solutions need to happen are really across the 7 circles that the book is structured around. And those 7 circles that are in the book include human and global relations, environment and ecology, business and society, health and happiness, the relationship of science and spirit, and our vision for the future. And if you don't think that those are as real today as at any time in our history, just click on your news. So all of us at the Evolutionary Leaders, of course, are a circle of influence, as is everybody who's on this show. Everyone whose heart is asking them to reach out and work toward this changed world. And so the Evolutionary Leaders is also this year building out from these 7 circles of engagement in our moment of choice to a new series on Voice America, which is entitled Humanity's Moment of Choice. And what we're going to be doing there, both with audio programs, radio, and also video programs, is a series of programs across 2022. There'll be a different host for every program, and we'll be addressing really all the areas of engagement that are represented by actually what's going to be 17 synergy circles of the Evolutionary Leaders. So that programming, which, and I think we're going to be sharing a lot of it across with Scott and with so many other people that have every kind of media imaginable across our Evolutionary Leaders community. But those topic areas are going to include Indigenous wisdom, how we bridge consciousness and political divides, how we actually co-create this global transformative movement that we're a part of, how we address an ecological civilization and sustainability, how we have transformative education, the vision and cosmology for our future, and discussing the impact of media, relationship of science and spirit, global stability and peace, gender equality and equanimity, and finally addressing the importance of our individual lives in spiritual practice. So we're going to be having an amazing time sharing with you from the Evolutionary Leaders all through 2022. You're going to be able to find that. I think Scott's going to probably put some things up on the screen here, but just that's the Convergence at Voice America. Easy to find by just Googling Convergence at Voice America. There it is. Or actually our Facebook page, which is Convergence Voice America. So this is actually our first show, which is running now. It's from the Ecological Civilization Synergy Circle. And I think John Perkins will see some of his fellow New York Times bestselling authors there, David Corton, Dwayne Elgin, joined by Jude Kervin, Richard Clugston of the Earth Charter Commission, and so many more in that program, Humanity's Moment of Choice, Choosing Earth. So that's what we're going to be up to across all of this programming for the year, across all of these areas of engagement that I know all of you represent too. So with that, easy job, kind of as the prompt man for all that's happening, and toss it back to Deborah to see what else she might like to say.
Just hats off to you, Kurt, for all that you are doing, and in a most inclusive way, inviting so many people to be part of it, listening to your Voice America series, reading your magazine, The Convergence, and by coordinating all of these synergy circles. It's amazing, and you're amazing, and it's a pleasure to work with you on a day-to-day basis, which is what this has turned into for both of us. I'm also very curious to ask the people who are watching and listening to this program, if any of you have read our Moment of Choice. I'd be really interested to see the comments that you might put in the comment boxes, whether you're on Zoom with us or watching this on Facebook. I would love to hear some reactions to the book. I don't know whether you all loved it, but whatever you have to say, we're very interested in how this affects you, because this Moment of Choice is all about all of us. And I think that's the message that Kurt and John and Scott and everybody on this program has been giving. So your voice is important, and we do want to hear from you. And Kurt, did you have anything more you'd like to say?
I was just going to say that there's no doubt that one of the best dance cards in the world is the larger EL community and all of the other 200 people in the synergy circles. We are really seeing where we can be impactful. And that's actually what our priorities are for 2022 and ongoing, how we can really impact this vision that all of us have talked about. And particularly what's so important with that, and it just is the light of what Scott's doing tonight, is media. You know, how we share from the head and from the heart and from the hands about how we can actually build that world that we're all talking about.
Yes, and bravo to Scott, because this is the new media. And what's new about it is not only that it's immediate and in the present moment, but also that it's interactive and that you can comment. And I know Scott goes through all of the comments to pull out some of the wisdom from the people who are watching. And that's where we are now. We're in that many to many time when it's not about, this is one of the things I love about the book. This is 43 voices. We're all about synergy. We're all about all the voices coming together, and each one with their own particular vision and expertise, but contributing to the whole.
Well, that's a great segue to go into this wonderful video about the book itself. So let's take a look. This is a chance to, again, see some of the authors and get a little bit of a sense of our Moment of Choice, the book.
This is our moment of choice.
We are living a time when the unsustainable ways of thinking and living from the past can no longer continue.
Conflicts, injustices, inequalities, and exploitation are all symptoms of a deeper dis-ease.
Things are moving at a very rapid pace. We're in a planetary shift, a shift of priorities that are breaking up the old paradigm throughout the world.
As we search for new solutions and healthy ways to move forward from our time of extremes, the question is, what's possible for us in our lives?
We are moving into a great new dawning, a great new day for humanity. This is our moment.
How can you tell the future? By making the future.
This is the time in which we really can begin to regenerate and renew our world.
Crisis precipitates evolution, and the global crises that we're experiencing right now are informing us of the need for an evolutionary upheaval.
Spirituality is a natural form of the universe. and we are spiritual beings in the spiritual universe and have tremendous power to come into wholeness.
Have you noticed that every time you make a good choice, it makes a difference?
Every one of us has input.
This is the time to realize the fantastic power of consciousness to reach out.
We now have system sciences, we have the quantum sciences.
We have healing hidden powers within us.
We have all of the new evidence coming forth that we are an interconnected, highly directed whole.
The earth does not belong to man, man belongs to the earth. We're no more than a thread in this weaving of life and in all creation.
Everything in nature, everything in reality has a purpose. Purpose is a key aspect of birthing genius.
We are in such a great and magnificent period of transformation, evolution, growth, and yet we have a choice.
This is our moment of choice.
That's what it's all about.
It's a beautiful video. It's a beautiful book.
Special thanks to Frank Jacob for making that beautiful video, and to the Source of Synergy Foundation for making the whole project possible.
You know, this would be a good time for you to tell people a little bit about the Source of Synergy Foundation.
Could we meet your dog first?
Oh, you can. And you know, I don't always bring her on, but we're moving. And there's a lot of upheaval going on in the house right now. So she's a little especially needing a little, she's been needing a little extra attention. So this is Jasmine Bear. And she's going to be 3 years old in about a week, actually. Anyway, thank you for asking. And
Very precious and very important to bring in the four-leggeds. This is not just a moment of choice about humanity. This is about all life on the planet. And you have an animal and plants behind you. So thank you. And John brought his Jaggy.
yeah. John, if your cat decides to make an appearance, we will we'll add her to the mix here.
We'll see if she's on the prowl somewhere, his little Jaguar.
She's watching the show from her, what we call her castle.
There she is.
Oh, there she is. Yeah. Beautiful.
She says, I don't know about that dog, though.
Yeah, well.
Maybe see, this is the greater synergy.
Right, exactly. Yeah, dogs and cats can get along, so can the US and China.
Exactly. There
we go. May that be the analogy.
So hopefully you'll learn more about the Source of Synergy Foundation tomorrow morning when your Sunday morning show features Diane Marie Williams, who founded it in 2008, I believe. Maybe it was 2006.
Well, sure. That's a great segue. Thank you. I will pull up just a reminder that, of course, every weekend we tackle a topic. This weekend, of course, it's our moment of choice. And tomorrow, we're going to have Diane Williams, who's the founder of Synergy Circle. And tell us about, now, Rev Deb is being replaced by Justin Fairman. So since you brought up tomorrow morning, tell us a little bit about our guests for tomorrow.
Oh, you're going to love Justin Fairman. He's a really unique voice, a little bit younger generation than many of us elders in the book. And he is well known for the Flow Institute and for Conscious Lifestyle magazine. And that's going to be really special. You heard Reverend Sylvia Sumter on the video trailer. She is one of the most inspiring ministers on the planet, along with Dr. Michael Beckwith. And you have Bob Atkinson of the One Planet Peace Forum, and he is our third co-editor of the book. And he is all about wholeness. So I know you're going to enjoy meeting him as well.
Beautiful. So that's tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Pacific time, 1 o'clock East Coast. So please, everybody, please do join us. So we've got a wonderful video that we recorded last week with Jude Kervin. And the video actually starts with Rev Deb doing a little bit of an introduction. But Deb, is there anything else you'd like to say about Jude before we play the video?
Oh, for those of you who don't know Dr. Jude Kervin, she is a cosmologist. She was like one of the biggest women in business in Britain, and she just tossed it all and went back to school and got a PhD in, I believe, archaeology, and just went into this whole other direction. She has written The Cosmic Hologram, which is about the nature of reality. And recently, she is one of the scribes of the unitive narrative, which you will learn more about in the future. But meanwhile, she has an extraordinary worldview. And I look forward to hearing this interview again, because every time I listen to her, I learn something else. Well, I'm so excited to be here with evolutionary leader, cosmologist, and dear friend, Dr. Jude Girvin. She is such an amazing thinker, philosopher, scientist, and she brings so much spirit to everything that she does with her totally unique approach. So we were thrilled to include her as one of the authors who contributed to our moment of choice. And I think that her work is particularly important right now. So Jude, welcome, welcome. And I would love you to just tell us a little bit about why you believe that this is our moment of choice.
Well, thank you, Deborah. It's always wonderful to be together. And I guess in one sense, we've been sensing that a moment of choice was coming. And, you know, when any system, whether it be an ecosystem or human, our collective human family, a moment does come where the old ways of being are unsustainable, and they come to that point. And then you get a situation where actually it tends to happen at the same time. There's a breakdown and a breakthrough, but there's a moment that is a moment of choice. And my perspective is that, you know, as a collective human family, we have had a general worldview up until this point, certainly in the West, of essentially materialist separation. We've had a science that tells us that the world is about separate things and is solely material. And we're now actually at the forefront of compelling evidence at all scales of existence and across numerous fields of research that's fundamentally flawed. And instead, we're literally rediscovering what the ancient wisdom teachers have told us, what indigenous teachers have told us, what spiritual teachers have told us for so long, that actually our universe exists and evolves as a unified and sentient entity, literally a thought, a great thought rather than a great thing, where mind and consciousness aren't something we have, they're literally what we and the whole world are. So we're at a moment now in our human journey where, first of all, we're at a point of unsustainability. We cannot go on as we are, with a worldview of separation that has driven a worldview of has driven a world of suffering. We're actually having the evidence now that converges with spiritually based teachings, wisdom teachings, indigenous teachings, to show us the integral nature of reality. And so that for me is a game changer, because it actually gives us authentic hope it gives us the inspiration and empowers us at this, what has to be a moment of choice, because we can't have a longer term wait for a moment of choice, but it gives us all that authenticity and inspiration and underpinning and grounding to make a choice to, instead of fall into fear, to literally leap into love.
Leap into love. I love that. And Jude, I want to bring up another concept that I learned from you in your most recent book, Gaia, Her Story, not history. You talk about the 5 great extinctions, and how the earth always not only recovered life from those events, but at a next level. And it gives me chills just even thinking about this concept that perhaps the dinosaurs had to leave to make way for a higher order of consciousness, of intelligence, of a different kind of life. So all of this talk about, are we in the process of the 6th great extinction? And is it going to take us out? When I think about this concept, then it gives me hope that it's actually a moment of evolution where something amazing could emerge.
I wholeheartedly agree. And just to say that the book sort of has gone to be called now The Story of Gaia, but it's certainly Gaia's story.
It is her story.
It's always her story. Absolutely. Yes, what we find is that when we look at the whole arc of biological evolution, of course, biological evolution began about 4 billion years ago. By that stage, the universe had evolved from simplicity, complexity from 13.8 billion years ago. So what a journey that was to actually come to the opportunity for our planetary home to be able to nurture biological life and its complexity and its evolutionary arc. So yeah, every time from the very beginning of that particular journey, there's been a sort of wave of evolution from simplicity to complexity. And what's happened after a certain period of time, and it can be hundreds of millions of years, a point's come where the most complex forms of life had almost run their course. Almost run their course. And in most cases, the breakdown was one that was imposed by Gaia. But at each time of a breakdown, then, as you say, a new arc, a new wave of evolutionary journey from simplicity to even greater complexity. So yes, 66 million years ago, when the asteroid hit and the dinosaurs died, they literally probably come to the end of their evolutionary arc because they'd been evolving for 100 million years or more. But what it gave was, it gave the opportunity for those little shrew-like mammals that were living and scuttling about in the undergrowth and mainly at night to sort of take on their own evolutionary journey. It seems to me 2 things. First of all, at each point of those mass extinctions and then the breakthroughs, instead of evolution proceeding slowly and linearly and over time, long time frames, a huge amount of what's called horizontal gene transfer was happening. Very, very rapid changes, actually going through the intelligence and the informational templates of the whole of the biosphere. And it's quite extraordinary. And viruses are key change agents in that horizontal gene transfer. Here we are, where we're at a point where we cannot evolve further unless we consciously evolve. We've come to the point of, our biological complexity, but unless we consciously evolved, perhaps, yes, we are doomed to be extinct, because Gaia will find a way of carrying on that intelligent evolutionary arc. And yet here we are, waking up to remember we're inseparable, waking up to realize that we are, microcosmic co-creators of our entire universe. Waking up, I hope, at the end of reading The Story of Gaia, to remember we're Gaians, and instead of horizontal gene transfer, although that might be part of it, our conscious evolution could be driven by horizontal meme transfer. New ideas of who we are, old ideas remembered of who we really are.
So in this moment of choice, what is it that people can do to engage with that conscious evolution, which is actually what our Evolutionary Leaders Circle is all about? So how can people individually make a difference in that enormous arc of evolution?
Very easily. We talk at Whole Worldview of acting local, feeling global, thinking cosmic. What we've just described as cosmic, incredible journey of our universe. But bring that down into everyone's lived lives. Perhaps be open to a practice, a regular, perhaps daily, hopefully, practice of reconnection, whether it's gardening, being in nature, meditating, yoga, whatever it is that helps us to connect with our heart's song and helps us connect with that oneness, that unity of which we're all part. There are many other ways, but I that's one. Two, never think any action is too small to count, because this world is non-linear. A tiny act of kindness can absolutely unleash a wave of compassion and transformational change. And 43 of us, I think it was, came together to write, to co-write, co-create our moment of choice from many, 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 many different directions, but all of whom have this underpinning, underlying framing of unity and unity of consciousness. And if there's a single chapter or a single sentence in the book that speaks to someone, that can be that first step on that, or a next step on that road home.
Thank you so much, Dr. Jude Kervin. Always an inspiration and a joy to be with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Deborah. Lots of love.
In case we needed a larger perspective.
She definitely covers the bases in a big way, and she's got that epic vision, absolutely epic.
Extraordinary.
Chief Phil is here. No
Yay!
need to fear. No need to fear. So we're going to hear from Chief Phil in just a moment, but I would love for us. I love to have a nice mix the music with the presentation. So Chief Phil, stay with us, because we do have Omashar, who is going to bless us with a little bit of music. What do you have for us tonight, Omashar?
Well, as I mentioned last night, this topic is so close to my heart, and I feel so humbled to be amongst all of us. My spine is tingling. I just feel electrically lit up in my brain, and what where's he gone? Was being said earlier about change our consciousness and everything will change. That is where my perspective is. I know that's a very deep hole to go down. However, I've chosen a song called One Heart, One Mind, One Soul. I've traveled around the world a gazillion times and been honored and blessed to play with many teachers and luminaries. However, one of my buddies, Greg, who we saw earlier, I was on a show with him called Universal Lightworkers Conference down in Florida, and I just driven back from the airport in Denver. I just come back from a bunch of concerts in India, and I fell asleep and I flipped my van and ended up being really beaten up and was unable to go to the conference. But the long story short is that I was sitting at home, all poor me, all bandaged up, so to speak, and I got a phone call. And it was Greg, and he said to me, "Omashar, don't say anything. I've got my phone plugged into the stage PA, and there's 300 people listening to you, so just be good with your language." And basically, they sang me the chorus of this song. And with that, I shall just carry on, okay? So thank you for listening to my ramble. Yep, here we go. Deep breath. Sometimes it feels so hard to move along. Say goodbye to yesterday. Take heart, my friends. There is a new song, bringing us back to our homelands. When something troubles you, just call out my name. I'm the one who loves you. Be still within. Hear what I say. Give me the chance to be with you. We are one heart, one mind, one soul, working together to heal. And there are no walls between us now. It's a celebration of union. So when you're feeling down and on your own, take a look around. I am in everything. Give me your burden, walk into my arms. I will lift you up, I will hold you. We are one heart, one mind, one soul, working together to heal. And there are no walls between us now. It's a celebration of union. We are the ones who hear the new voice calling us home to freedom. Fear not, my friends, this is a new place full of new joys and happiness. Yes, we are one heart, one mind, one soul, working together to heal. And there are no walls between us now. It's a celebration of union.
Oh, Brother Omashar, that is so perfect.
Always fun. Always a blessing. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. I'm going to gallery view, seeing people smiling and appreciating you there for a minute. All hail Omashar!
That's right.
And by the way, you know, Omashar is very generous, and he's got some great music on YouTube. So just go to YouTube, and it's Omashar Music, and he's got some really beautiful songs, some beautiful videos, and he's going to play one more song for us during the after show tonight. So,
Yes,
Omashar, thank you so much.
Blessings. Namaste.
Namaste.
Namaskar.
Well, we're both going to introduce Chief Phil. I'll go first. When I think of Chief Phil, the word passion, it is what comes to my mind. What I love about you, Brother Phil, is that you do everything with so much passion. On our shows, I've never met you in person. I've only seen you in my Zoom room, but I've seen you cry. I've seen you sing. I've seen you dance. I've seen you, speak with so much power and passion. I love that you do everything with passion, and I think that's what we need in our world at this time. So thank you for modeling passion with all that you do.
Well, the word that comes to my mind when I am fortunate enough to be in the same room with my brother, Chief Phil Lane Jr., and we have been in the same room in some remarkable places around the world, from Ethiopia to the Holy Land and other places with Unity Earth, is prophecy. He has made it his mission right now, in real time, right now, to bring together the indigenous peoples of this world. And I think that is so important. And it is because he is driven by prophecy. And he brings forth the wisdom of his tradition and many other traditions, always from the heart. And as Scott said, with great passion. But he is fulfilling this very unique purpose that is so important right now, when we desperately need the wisdom of all of the indigenous peoples of the world who still are carrying that wisdom. I give you Chief Phil Lane Jr.
Thank you so much, sister. And thank everyone for the beautiful sharing. So beautiful, Kurt, John Perkins, beautiful music, everyone, the recordings, Jude. Really, I believe we're at a time when it's really the full understanding of the prior unity and oneness of our human family that's going to be the foundation of ending war and beginning peace on earth by 2030. I was present. I went to Bolivia in March 1970. And I was present July 9th, 1971, when the actual prophecy of the reunion of the condor and eagle was fulfilled on Lake Titicaca. And I've seen all these prophecies, not just indigenous prophecies, but prophecies from visionaries and seers and poets and great spiritual teachers from all over Mother Earth. And, I think that when we really are going to come together, we have to know that spirit has infinite meaning. So it's not a subject we have to fight about, because it has so many meanings. But from my perspective, when we begin to weave together these beautiful, beautiful tapestries of spiritual wisdom and vision that has come from all our ancestors, because we are, each and every one of us sitting here, spiritual representatives of all that have gone before us. All those, my mom and dad, their parents and so forth, are all in the spiritual world as I see it. I'm here representing them. But equally and just as sacred are each of you. And I think this realization that each of us is a sacred being, that each of us is a sovereignty, ancient, imperishable, everlasting, born that way into this world of time and space, is so important. So important. And, Kurt brought up in the pre-program, I thought it was very, very succinctly in terms of some of the struggle that goes on about materialism, spirit, and so forth. He was saying some people are saying, does spirit come from material, or does material emerge from spirit? And so what I'd like to do, this has been so much wisdom. There's no question that a new global civilization is being born, without question. It is being born. And it's going to be manifested. As in the Lord's Prayer, thy will be done. Thy kingdom come on earth as it is in heaven. That's happening. Now, whether or not it's because of some incredible, horrendous thing that happens because we continue pounding the drums of war and go forward and find ourselves in a situation where there's no question in any soul upon the earth that the hurt of one is the hurt of all, in the honor of one, the healing of one, the upliftment of one is the upliftment of all. If that's the way it has to become clear, it may have to. I pray that that's not the way. I truly pray from the core of my soul that's not the way. That we can instead, as a collective will of us together as a human family, awaken to our true reality. And I truly believe we have that capacity. And it's just come to me, and good. Sometimes I think I'm dead right and I'm dead wrong, by the way. And I think I'm dead right and I'm dead, but I believe in this. I believe with all my soul and heart through unprecedented unified action that by 2030, we can end war and begin peace on Mother Earth. So I'm going to close with this little comment about the soul in response to Brother Kurt's thoughts about what is the nature of our soul, because that's so important. We quote unquote lost so many, but who are we really? Our soul is independent of and the very source of our body's existence. If our body is destroyed, our soul and spirit remain unharmed. Our soul, our human spirit, is independent of our physical body. Our soul is free and sanctified beyond this physical plane of time and space. All the powers that distinguishes a human being, reason, memory, abstract thought, creativeness, inventiveness, willpower, are all properties of our soul, not our body. A love that anyone may have had for anyone will not be forgotten in the spiritual worlds to come, nor will we forget the life we had in this physical world. The soul has no gender, race, ethnicity, or class. This reality makes all forms of prejudice, whatever they may be, intolerable and unacceptable. The soul is not divided. It is a reflection of the oneness of our Creator. There's more of these that I can share another time, but I just want to say that one thing you begin to realize a little bit more every day as you become older. When we talk about qualities, well, that person's so kind, person's so compassionate, strong, just, vibrant, passionate, whatever we're talking about. Who are we talking about, a man or a woman? You really realize as you get older that it's the spirit, the purpose of our life is just like our purpose in the mother's womb is to acquire our physical arms and legs and eyes and ears and all those things which give us mobility and ability to understand and move in this world of time and space, this physical world, my earth suit. Our purpose here is to grow our spiritual arms and legs and eyes and ears so we can experience, and that is part of emerging into this consciousness. So I just want to say that much and just say thank you so much again. I just we are at this time, it's going to be all of us together. And I think really for me, when I'm really been looking at these last weeks, it has to be right here in my own soul. If we carry around worry or mistrust or any of these things, we're not bringing peace in the world. And it begins right here in our own soul. If we can really look at ourselves every morning, get up in the morning and say, wow, it's great to be with you, peaceful being. Let's have another peaceful day, you peaceful person. Anyway, I love you all. Give you a big hug. Sometimes I really feel like this. I feel like I wish I could just grab this computer and just that feeling is put in your pulp, just pull it in your soul and just give everybody a big squeeze. So I just done that.
We feel it.
Okay,
we feel
please.
it, Brother Phil.
Alrighty.
We feel it. I'll bring in
Kurtz
and Ivy, so you can, we can at least get a little cosmic hug here as we bring in some of us. Here we are. There we are. I'll just go to gallery view.
Thank you. Love you all. Yes,
we are.
All right.
Hey, there. In addition to the cosmic hug, I really want to encourage people to check out Phil's website. It's the Four Worlds International Institute. And so the actual URL is fwii.earth, Four Worlds International Institute, FWII.earth. And this is where it's so inspirational to really read about his understanding of how a new world has begun and to really tune in. So it's also where we can donate to the work he's doing, read about these unprecedented times in history, and truly the dawning of a new global civilization, and to drop deeper into the wisdom that he's been, as Deborah said, studying and sharing with us for a very, very long time. So please do go there to fwii.earth. And we love Brother Phil very, very much. All right. I also, while I've got people's attention, I want to go to what Kurt Johnson has been doing. You know, Kurt has got this wonderful Voice America Convergence program that's part of our moment of choice. I never got a chance to go to the website tonight. So here it is on voiceamerica.com. And again, you look for the Convergence, our moment of choice. And Kurt, yeah, there you are. You want to add anything, Kurt, for us to know?
No, thanks a lot. No, we're very easy to find. All you have to do is Google Convergence at Voice America, or go to the Convergence Voice America Facebook page. They guide you to what's called the show page here. Like I said, we're going to be having a different host from across the evolutionary leaders for each program. And I just put in the chat where all of our free e-magazines are at ISSUU, mostly because almost every guest tonight has been in one of those magazines. And the whole journey that we've been talking about is really portrayed over the last few years. There they all are. Just click into those, and that's
you
adventure.
edit all of these magazines. I mean, it's incredible what you've created. Look at all of our friends. There's Deepak.
Nandahi, Brother Phil is in this one. Everybody from our moment of choice in that one. Rick Ulfik edited this one. Wow. The UN Yoga Day Committee and 4 of them. It just goes on and on. Now there's Brother Phil right there.
Oh, wow.
Yep. The Road to 2020, that's from Ethiopia.
Yep.
And on. There's Karuna Ji on her veranda in Colorado. There you are at the African Union when we were with Unity Earth. So yeah, you can all go back. Here's the on and on.
Thank you, Kurt. So
Thank
again,
you.
the URL for that, by the way, is ISSUU.com. ISSUU.com is where you can get access to all these amazing issues of the Convergence and Light on Light. So thank you, Kurt.
Thank you.
You know, we are so grateful to be coming together as Global Peace Tribe. And we are continuing to plan some really wonderful events. Kristen and Cornflower are going to do a wonderful another concert for the summer solstice. So put down June 21st into your calendars, Tuesday night, June 21st, the summer solstice. Our beloveds, Kristen Hoffman and Cornflower, are going to be doing another concert. So definitely put that date in. And I just want to take this moment, honestly, to invite people to support us. It does take a lot to put together these shows, and so your support is really helpful, and it's easy to do that. You can go to our website, supportgpt.com, or you can take your trusty phone and go to the camera function and go right up to that Q code, and then you get a little opportunity to open to whatever browser your cell phone takes you to, and there's how you can donate. It's really, really easy. And honestly, we really could use your donations to continue things. I'd like to continue doing the Awakening World throughout the summer, and also aware that social distancing is pretty well complete. And people are going to want to be out during the summer. I'd love to be out during the summer. So I'm kind of, evaluating, frankly, whether we're going to do 1 show a weekend, 3 shows, and your support is going to make a big difference as to what we can afford to do. So we're definitely committed to continuing the show through the end of June. And I certainly want to do something, and your input, both when you write to me and tell me what you'd like to see, that helps. and your support really, really helps. So thank you, everybody who has registered, and any additional support you can provide is really, really important, and we're grateful for that. Thank you very, very much. All right. I think next up is a video of Reverend Michael Beckwith. And before I play that, I'm going to come to Reverend Deb to ask for kind of anything you want to share in way of introducing Reverend Michael and his contribution to our moment of choice.
Reverend Michael Bernard Beckwith is one of the most extraordinary preachers on the planet right now. I'm sure that you're all familiar with his work. Every time I hear him, and I first met him at the United Nations when we were both involved in a program that Diane Williams was coordinating for the Season for Nonviolence that was celebrating Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and Mahatma Gandhi with a program for young people. And I'm uplifted by him every single time I hear him speak. I think he's an extraordinary channel for the divine. And I love the way spirit moves through him with so much joy. So we were thrilled to have him be part of the Evolutionary Leaders Circle, which he's an original member of, and then our Moment of Choice. And you saw him in the trailer for the book. He's like transportation. You know, you can ride him to spirit. So I can't wait to hear what he has to say this evening.
Thank you. Yeah, you know, I've known Reverend Michael Beckwith for a very long time. I first started going to Agape when we were meeting in the basement of the Santa Monica Miramar Hotel. There were 15 or 20 of us on metal folding chairs on Sunday mornings. And I went to Jamaica with Michael in 1995. I've interviewed him for numerous television shows. And I agree with Deborah. He is one of the great voices, and he's the real deal. He's who you see on stage is who you see off stage. He's truly a very evolved human being and a beautiful representation of what humanity is capable of. So I interviewed him a while back. I think I did this interview about maybe 3 months ago, and we've added some B-roll. And what I chose this particular one because here we are with all these evolutionary leaders and all these wonderful people. But in this video, you're going to hear about Michael's influences, right? You know, John Perkins has been a big influence for me, and hopefully many of the people we've seen today are role models and influences for those of us watching. Well, this is an opportunity to learn about Reverend Michael Beckwith's influences, and we've even added some B-roll. So it's a really fascinating interview and a chance to kind of drop a little bit more into the personal of Michael Beckwith. So here we go. Michael, thank you so much. Happy Holy Days. And we would love to know some of your spiritual inspirations, teachers, how they influenced you, and maybe how you apply that to your life.
The first one that comes to my awareness is probably the greatest mystic to come out of America, and that is a man by the name of Walter Russell. And Walter Russell went into a state of cosmic consciousness and wrote the Divine Iliad, all those volumes without any editing from a very expanded state of consciousness. He wrote The Secret of Light. He predicted the elements in the periodical table way before scientists even knew they existed. For me, when I had my spiritual awakening, I didn't have any teachers. I didn't know what was happening to me. And so as I studied him, it was my first foray into the understanding of what mysticism was, the understanding of the universal cosmic laws. And so it deeply imprinted me in a very powerful way. So there was a little small book that introduced me to him. It was called The Man Who Tapped the Secrets of the Universe. It was by Glenn Clark. It was about Walter Russell. And then that led me to reading another small little book called The Man Who Talked with Flowers. And that was about the great mystic known as George Washington Carver. And most people thought that George Washington Carver was a scientist, or that they understood him from his the efficacy of the peanut and things of that. But that didn't even cover who George Washington Carver was. And so that led me to understand that George Washington Carver was a full-blown mystic who would go out at 4 o'clock in the morning and ask Mother Nature and ask the presence of God the usefulness of particular plants or the soil or the earth. And the plants would reveal to him their efficacy and their secrets. And then he would go into his laboratory and prove what he had gleaned through his mystical connection to Mother Nature. Most of the great ministers that were coming out at that particular time, he was their teacher. But they had to meet with him at night because he was a Black man, and it was forbidden for a Black man to teach white men anything. And then the other great teacher was Howard Washington Thurman. He was a great Christian theologian mystic. And he ended up writing this treatise called Jesus and the Disinherited. And he began to teach the teachings of Jesus and how the teachings of Jesus apply to everyone: white, Black, rich, poor, woman, man. And at the end of this treatise, he writes, I'm no longer necessarily a follower of Christianity. I'm a follower of the teachings of Jesus. So he separated himself from Christianity as it was at that time and followed the teachings of Jesus. And because of that, in many circles, he was labeled a heretic and shunned by the Christian religion. And he ended up starting a church in San Francisco called the Church of All People, which was the first integrated Christian church in America. He loved Emerson, he loved Thoreau, he loved, the great mystics of the ages, and still embraced the teachings of Jesus. So he was a great influence of me, because he was able to not only embrace the cosmic awareness of Jesus, but he was able to bring into the darkest moments, into moments in which humanity was walking through, and bring light to there without denying tragedy, without denying loss, without denying death, without denying disease that human beings walk through. He was able to bring into those dark moments this great teaching of this great teacher, Jesus. Sri Aurobindo out of India came into my life. That he was very influential in my thinking and in my articulation. I even went to India. I went to Oroville in India. Sri Aurobindo was a cohort of Gandhi, and they were seeking to free themselves from the shackles and the oppression of Great Britain. And when Sri Aurobindo was jailed with Gandhi many times, one of the times in which he was jailed, he went into full-blown cosmic consciousness. And when he came out, he told Gandhi that, he was still with him, but that he was being called into another way of freeing humanity, and that was through spiritual teachings. I met Dr. King. I was a small boy, and he was doing a West Coast fundraising tour for SCLC, Southern Christian Leadership Conference. And my mother took me to Holman's Methodist Church to hear him speak. I was 9 or 10 years old. Wow. So after he spoke, I met him. We shook hands. I remember saying to my mother, wow, he has such soft hands. And she said, well, he does a different kind of work, baby, And then subsequently, when he was assassinated, it impacted me to want to make a difference on the planet. And then his articulation of what agape love was infused my soul with an understanding of unconditional love and the love of God operating in the human heart. Dr. Thurman was a great teacher of Martin Luther King Jr. And Dr. King carried the treatise of Jesus and the Disinherited with him. So Thurman greatly influenced King in terms of the nonviolent movement, the way that Gandhi influenced Thurman. Most people don't know that Gandhi was influenced by Thoreau's writings on civil disobedience influenced Gandhi. Gandhi influences Thurman. Thurman brings it back to Dr. King. You know, I wear Dr. Thurman's robe when I speak at Rankin Hall at Howard University. They allow me to wear his robe when I'm speaking. When I first met Dr. Lawrence Carter, who is a powerful being at Morehouse College, he runs the Martin Luther King Chapel there. When he came to see me speak at Agape, the first thing that Lawrence Carter said was, wow, you're more Thurman-esque than Thurman, because he knew Dr. Thurman. Because of the one, trans-denominational is what we call ourselves. Two, everybody was at Agape, doesn't, you know, race, creed, color, sexual orientation, you know, whatever, it's all there. So I think I picked up on that, but I was also raised that way. You know, my mother's house was a hub of a lot of the civil rights movement as growing up. And we would meet at the house and we would decide which stores we were going to picket in order to bring about justice to people of color and wages and things like that. But in my mother's home, you know, when we would meet, there were white people, black people, Jewish people, straight people, gay people. It was all a part of the gestalt of me growing up. So a lot of things that people had to grow into. I didn't have to grow into that because that was just a part of my upbringing. When I was a freshman in college, and it was a mandatory talk by this man. I didn't know who he was at the time, even though I knew there was a Thurman Hall. We had to go hear Howard Thurman speak. So I'm a freshman, and the title of his talk was something along the lines of the benefits of slavery. So I'm 17 years old, I'm revolutionary, I'm activist minded, and I'm thinking, what, this old guy is talking about the benefits of slavery? What is he going to tell me? So me and my cohorts, we go in there and we sit like in the middle, third, fourth row back. We wanted to be right there and hear what this guy had to say. So after this long introduction about who he was, you know, he begins to speak in a very slow cadence. And he talks about the African mind, this mind that was growing up in Africa near the rivers, very connected to the trees, very connected to the ground, this field of abundance, and then being stolen from their homeland and then placed all around the world. And that this capacity to have a deep sense of compassion, a deep sense of forgiveness, a deep sense of love from a field of abundance, not scarcity, was now spread all around the world for such a time as this. And that perhaps, of course, slavery was not a good thing. Of course, it's not God ordained. But perhaps the benefits of it was that you had these beings that were exiled from Africa all around the world that had this capacity for compassion and this capacity from this deep sense of connection of the earth was now all around the world.
Wow.
That was once only on this one continent. And we're sitting there like, what? I mean, we were mesmerized by this, you know what I mean? Now, I didn't understand all these concepts. I'm 17 years old. Later, maybe the next year I met him. He wanted to meet all the guys from California that had come in. And I'll share this with you. We had all dropped a tab of acid. We didn't know we were going to meet Howard Thurman that night. And we were on our way to get something to eat. And people caught up with us and says, Dr. Thurman wants to meet with you guys. You know, he wants to meet with the guys who have been recruited from the big cities to the South to come to the school, Morehouse College, which Dr. King was an alumni of, which is why I went there. And I said, oh no, I don't want to meet him now. I dropped a tab of acid. I don't want to meet Dr. Thurman like this, but inevitably we got to meet him. And I remember he was down the hall and I'm, as they say back in those days, you know, I was peaking on the acid. The closer I got to him, the more sober my mind became. And by the time I got in his presence, the clarity, the articulation, I didn't feel like I was on acid at all. It was just in a very clear space. And we had a great conversation and told him about my experience at Morehouse. And he was checking in on us and had some great conversation. Shook his hand, he went his way, we went ours. And the further I got away from him, the more the effects of the acid began to take over again. It was amazing. It was like in his presence, it was nothing. Out of his presence, it was like I could see trails. I remember sitting on the curb that night, watching the trails of cars go by, thinking about that phenomenon. Why did the clarity and the insight, why did that happen in his presence? And then when he left, the acid took its toll. It was, again, years later, I'm aware of somebody's presence. I'm aware of the energy that people carry, you know. But I'll always remember that. Yeah, I mean, I don't do any drugs at this time in my life, and the last 40 years have not.
There is something that is greater than even the high of this drug.
Yes, he wasn't just an academician about mysticism. You know, he was having an encounter with the presence, and that carried a frequency and a vibration of love and joy and generosity and compassion that would emanate through his voice, you know. And even though I didn't meet a Walter Russell, I know he carried that frequency as well, though I didn't get to meet George Washington Carver. Yeah, it would be Carver and Sri Aurobindo. Sri Aurobindo really spoke about the potential of humanity being a God-man or God-woman and the inner visioning. I don't know if he used that language, but I remember in studying him, it impacted me. And I became very aware that it's really about the expansion of consciousness. So the vision process was born out of my awareness of it in building Agape. We wanted to actually be the containers for unconditional love. We actually wanted to be the next great expression of human unfoldment, the next great unfolding of the human species, not just create a church, but actually carry the frequency of what we wanted to teach. And so it's an inner awareness of love, inner awareness of peace and of joy and of harmony. And I always have taught from the very beginning that you can't have permanently what you're not willing to become in consciousness. You can manipulate and have things temporarily. But if you're going to have something in your life, then you have to actually become it in vibration, in frequency. You have to embody those particular frequencies. And then even if you temporarily lose it, it'll always come back because that's who you are. As we're not trying to be ascended masters, we're trying to be descended masters. We're trying to actually bring the energy here, not go there. And now when people try to go there, sometimes they don't embody it. And they live in this straining of trying to get somewhere, where when you begin to really wake up, you begin to realize that you're already enlightened. What you're doing is you're just removing the mental, emotional obstacles to seeing who you are. There's a great friend of mine who was a part of the Paramahansa Yogananda crew. We used to meditate at his house all the time. And during one of his meditations, there was an appearance to me as if Yogananda had appeared. And I can remember him saying to me that I was not to have a guru, that I was to go direct. I could be influenced, I can study, I can learn from all the teachers, but I was not necessarily to go the guru path. And that became my path. I studied, I was influenced by great beings on the planet, the ones that I've mentioned, but most of my growth was through direct encounter with the presence. So Paramahansa was an authentic, awakened being that I was influenced by as well. Yeah. Saturday Night Alive.
Hey, big thanks to Alan and Son who added the B-roll, and we thank them in Virtual World Studios. I'm going to bring Rev Deb up for a minute, and then we're going to hear from Ivy Hilton. But wasn't that a fascinating interview? I mean, I bet you heard some things you've never heard Michael say before.
Definitely. And I'm blown away by the challenge that he put before us, which is to be that love right now, right here, right now. And I put that out to everybody who's watching right now. Let's take a moment and let's just open our hearts and let the love, divine love, flow through us so powerfully that there is no room for anything else. Reverend Michael says, that is who we are. And I'm so glad that the next person up is Dr. Ivy Hilton, because I know she's going to take us even further on that. We can just float on her voice into that manifestation of the divine within us.
Thank you very much. That was such a powerful presentation, and it makes me realize that this is a cosmic experience. And I invite you to join me in a prayer for bringing the light and for feeling the love of God in our lives. So join me in this prayer. This prayer came as I was singing at Reverend Sylvia's church, and it just came over me, and the song began. In the beginning, God created the heavens and without form and void, and darkness was upon the earth, and the Spirit of God moved across the waters, and God said, "Let there be light. Let there be light. Let there be light." and grow. Let there be light. May God heal the world. Hear our cry, O Lord. We need you now. Let the Holy Spirit pour out into this place. May God bless you. May God bless you. May God bless you and you and you and you. May God bless you. Bless you. Whatever it is, whatever you need, whatever the moment is, may God bless you. This is our moment of joy. May God heal the world. May God heal your heart. May God bless you. May God bless you. May God heal the earth. Om Shanti.
That was amazing, Ivy. That was just amazing.
Give thanks.
We give thanks for you.
May God heal the world.
May God heal the world.
I do want to just remind people about Dr. Ivy's Sound Spa, and you find it at drivysoundspa.com. drivysoundspa.com. And that's where you can find some really beautiful meditation events. She also has essential oils. You can even get a personal and private sound spa experience. So there's a lot of good things there. It's definitely, I mean, if you want to take a ride, she sure took us for a ride right now. So thank you. And I love your new name that you're going by. Ivy Shadia.
Yes. My husband named me Shadi. And as I mentioned before, he took me to perform in front of a sheikh. And he said, "You are Shadia." And my husband gave me permission, and we added the two, and I am Shadia.
All hail Shadia, Dr. Shadia. Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you so much. Well, you know, Deborah, one of our...
Scott, I think you should read the comment in the chat from Eleanor Joy, or I'll read it. She says,
please read it.
"During that beautiful rendition, I had an angel gently place its hands on my head and lovingly point me in the direction of Dr. Ivy." So she literally brought forth the angelic realm to assist us in this moment of choice.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, speaking of the angelic realm, we have an evolutionary leader friend of yours and mine, longtime friend of mine, who helps us connect to the heavenly realms. He literally wrote the book Making Contact. And of course, I'm talking about Alan Steinfeld. Hey, welcome, Alan.
Right. We should put Ivy together with Kristen, and then it will shake the world, you know?
Absolutely.
But you know, there is something about vibration. Ivy just lifted our vibrational field.
That's right.
And it's what Michael was talking about, being in the presence of masters. And so what I'm talking about with Making Contact is a vibrational field that's unlike anything we've seen before. And that's why I'm so excited about this work and bringing the idea of making contact here, because we're being prepared by all these beautiful teachers to realize consciousness is everything. This is evolution. And when we meet other beings that are so different than us, we have to rise to the occasion to be able to vibrate at their level. And that's really the foundation of what I'm trying to do with Making Contact and the series that me and your old partner, Deborah Juicy, are putting together called the Making Contact series. So that's coming up.
The video?
What's that?
Let me play the video.
Let's go to the videotape, as they say in sports. Yes. From deep, deep in outer space to planet Earth, to the red rocks of Sedona, to our online community here, comes a time, a message, a special series on Making Contact.
There is no better time for Making Contact. I'm George Norrie, host of the national radio show Coast to Coast AM. Alan Steinfeld has put together a well-conceived collection that covers it all.
Thanks, George, for that introduction. This is Alan Steinfeld, the editor and author of Making Contact, which is a collection of writings of the best and brightest people in the field of ufology. I'm putting together a special series of some of these fantastic contributors to my book. People like Whitley Strieber, Linda Moulton Howe, Carolyn Corey, Nick Pope, JJ and Desiree Hertog, Adam Apollo, the alien lady Mary Rodwell, and such contactees as Marina Sarin and Kamara Jones and the Art of Kamara Jones, plus some very special surprises in the field. Please join me for this fantastic series of dialogues as I dive deeper into anything I've done before. For more information and for a complete description of the 5-week course, go to makingcontactseries.com. George, any final comments?
The contributions of all these people help to give insight into the multifaceted intentions of the phenomena, because Making Contact presents the opportunity for us to prepare to meet advanced civilizations. Someday, somehow in the future, the conflicts that have plagued our species for eons will come to an end. And by making contact, we will take our rightful place among the stars.
The Making Contact series is presented by Alan Steinfeld and New Realities, Deborah Giusti and the Global Peace Tribe, in association with Neil Gar, Portal to Ascension, and Star Family Wisdom. Join us for this online series, Making Contact, the New Realities of Disclosure and Cosmic Awakening, Thursdays beginning May 19th from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. Pacific Time. To find out more and to sign up, go to makingcontactseries.com. See you there.
Oh, that's a great video.
I put that together
I know
myself.
you did. You did a great job, man.
And George Norrie, he wrote the foreword to my book, and I used his voiceover from the audio of the book to just, I hope he didn't mind because gave me permission to do that. But no, the idea behind that series is to really prepare us for something unknown. These last 2 years have been a shakeup of our reality. And what we're about to enter is uncharted territory. And that's why this is the most exciting time on this planet. And that's why this is a 5-part series with experts, Nick Pope, Linda Moulton Howe, Whitley Strieber, people who've had experience with the phenomena and have adjusted their consciousness to interface with the phenomena. And this is what we're going to need to do on a planetary civilization. I've had long talks with Kurt Johnson about that, but this is the evolutionary impulse. There's even an evolutionary circle, actually 2, which is about consciousness and contact. So if we're going to rise to the next level, we need to stretch our hands up as something else is reaching down so we can rise up out of the human drama that has been a sort of disaster for the past 10,000 years. Wouldn't you say, Kurt? Any response, Kurt?
Yeah, I mean, there's absolutely no doubt that what happened when the Pentagon and the Navy released data that was undeniable, that made the doubter community, who could always explain everything away for decades, unable to say that those were not data sets and those were not paradigm shifting data sets. That has changed the landscape in which the scientific community now looks at this. So that's just one part of it, but we have a confluence here of what's going on in the spiritual community, what's going on in the scientific community that's rolling out this same vision that all of us talked about in the program tonight of going down this road together with all of those capabilities, our full capabilities.
But this is going to change our consciousness fundamentally when we meet the other. When we meet something so different, we're going to have to access this moment of choice inside of us. Where are we going to go into the unknown and a new future, or are we going to stick to the past? Well, I have to say there's no future in the past, Scott. We have to go forward. What do you think, Deborah?
I just want to put in a plug for the book, Making Contact, because this is truly unique. It's not just a collection of people's experiences with other life forms. This is a call to raise our frequency and really be conscious that we're not the be all and end all of all civilizations in the universe, and take a deep look at ourselves and what we need to do to confront the other. On this planet, we're having trouble even confronting people we see as other, and they're the same species as we are. So what do we need to do in this moment to be prepared to step into the future, and that future that Jude was talking about, where if this is a moment of extinction, can we consciously make the bridge, make that evolutionary leap to the next level of consciousness that we will need to be part of the galactic civilization that may be out there waiting for us. So I know your series. I know your series is going to be really exciting, Alan. Congratulations.
The series goes deeper into what Kurt just said. When the government said, yes, there are crashed ships, yes, there are UFOs, and we're not telling you the whole truth, people started to take it seriously. So what we need to do now as a global civilization is lay it all out on the table, explain it, put the pieces together, because my book is a collection of essays because no one has the whole truth. So let's lay it out there. And the series will go deeper into deep philosophical dialogue. I mean, Linda Moulton Howe and Whitley Strieber go as deep as we can. Deborah Giusti at the New Living Expo said Danny Sheehan just signed on, who's the lawyer for the disclosure people. Adam Apollo, Mary Rudd, Nick Pope. Nick Pope worked for the Ministry of Defense. JJ and Desiree Hertog, who have a whole incredible cosmology. And we as a civilization, as a population, need to expand our minds to tap into our galactic awareness, or whatever you want to call that cosmic, because we've never been separate from the cosmos. We've always been part of it. And this is our moment of choice, Deborah, is our time of awakening. And thank you. I'm so happy to be here with the evolutionary leaders. It's our moment of evolution too. Thanks, Scott.
Absolutely. So just a reminder, everybody, you can get the book by going to Amazon. It's called Making Contact. And Alan, do you want to pull up the poster real quick? So
Yes. Can I share my screen there? Let me just share my screen. It says cannot share my screen. There's the poster. So if you want to sign up for this course, go to makingcontactseries.com. It's there at the bottom of the poster. The New Realities, which is my tagline, of disclosure and cosmic awakening. Really, I got the best. Carolyn Corey just made a film about the science of UFOs. She proves this in her new film called A Tear in the Sky. So she's going to be on board. And then mine and Scott's favorite, Marina Seren, because she definitely is from someplace else. Kamara Jones, who is doing the finest interdimensional art. We are at the edge of shifting dimensional realities. I know that sounds far out to a lot of grounded people, but there's something else happening on planet Earth, and this is part of it. It's not all of it. We have to clean up our act. You know, your mother used to tell you, no one's going to visit. You know, we're not having company until you clean up your room. We have to clean up our room if we're really going to have company, but let's do it. Bruce Lipton, I use him in the epilogue of the book. He says, when we come together as a oneness, realizing that we're all human beings in the great human organism, then we create humanity. We speak with one voice, and then we can speak to the other ones, which is the next level of civilization, when ones come together. So, and we're forming a super organism as a planetary civilization, then as a solar galactic. Those are real things. The Webb telescope is visiting TRAPPIST-9 in a few months, which has 5 Earth-like planets.
Wow.
And they're not disclosing what they'll find. It's said in a press release, we're making this top secret, the first pictures of TRAPPIST-9. So there's something we're right at the edge of, and I want to prepare people for some new realities. So I'm very excited about this.
Alan, we love you. Thank you so much.
Making Contact series, sign up if you're watching it. I really think it's going to be a breakthrough. Thank you. Thank you, Deborah. Great to see you.
May 19th. It starts on May 19th.
Yes, and goes through June with all our favorite enlightened UFO researchers, scholars.
This is wonderful because this is pulling us to the future.
Yes.
This is, instead of only saying, well, we need to evolve because otherwise we've ruined the planet and we're going to go extinct. So we better evolve. Well, that's powerful motivation, but it's even more exciting when you think that we are building something new, a new kind of consciousness that can take us into a future that could be exciting beyond our wildest dreams.
Right. We have to change, Deborah. We need to find this space in us, which we are not separate from the rest of creation. The universe is not dead out there. It's a living, breathing being.
Oh, yeah.
And we're redefining what science means by being part of the cosmos. So, yes, I'm excited.
Alan, we love you. Thank you so much. We'll see you next week on Saturday night again, probably, and we'll see you on May 19th.
Great. Thanks, Scott, for doing this.
Absolutely. Hey, I also want to acknowledge Connie Baxter Marlowe and her beloved Andrew. They come to every show. They provide a lot of wisdom. I always appreciate your comments, Connie. And they have a free ebook. And she's always helping us to remember about really dropping into the trust frequency. And as she just wrote, the veil is thinning. We are going to get it very soon. We are one, and peace on earth will be a given. No one to fight with, and there's more abundance than we can fathom. Absolutely. So, Connie, thank you for being such a beautiful part of the Global Peace Tribe.
Thank you, Connie. We love you, and Andrew too.
All right, we're going to have a song from Travis, then we're going to hear from Carolyn Meese, and then a closing song from Omashar. So we're in the home stretch, and we're going to go to Travis next for another musical offering.
Hey everybody, this has been a wonderful program. Thanks for having me on. It's really a pleasure. Thanks, Scott. And really lovely to hear the other musics of Ivy and Omashar. Grateful to be included here. I'm going to play a song that is an older song I wrote years ago that I've been carrying around a bit, and actually got dusty in one of my song bags for probably 5 or 10 years, and someone just reminded me of it the other day. And I believe that Mr. Beckwith, Reverend Beckwith, was saying something and just shook the song out of me, and like, oh, I got to sing that song tonight. Okay. So this is a song. This is a peasant song. I read a lot of peasant songs about minstrels and peasants and things like that. So here goes. And just a little name blessing. Some of the fellows that played in those old-timey bands that we know so well, they are dead and done. Their song will live on, you see, it is here with us still. When we sing, we are them again. All of the joy of their spirit revives, though what part of them knows is to me unclear. Just sing and pretend it's the part that is here. Sing and pretend it's the part that is here. Some of the tunes that they played in the streets are as old as the rocks and the hills. And all of these tunes reoccurring to me are the halls of the spirit that builds signal fires and old empires, stars and the points on a sword. So ring all the bells and raise sound about the truth of the living word. Ring all the bells and raise sound about the truth of the living word. Some of the tunes that I heard in my youth are the halls of the spirit that binds me in my old age like a rat to a cage, but these old riddles always unwind. What a joy that it is to be living amidst the work that my Father has done. I am proud to proclaim his heavenly name. He has built it and I am his son. He has built it and I am his son. Now I've heard that the way is enchanting the names of the sacred and holy divine. If you don't know the name, just sing to the music, any name that will do fine. For the holy names are the simple souls, and God blesses everyone. But the holiest name is silent, for that is the name of the song. The holiest name is silence, because that is the name of the song.
Thank you so much, Travis. I so appreciate you. You know, Travis, I always am encouraging people to support our musical artists because, as Rev Deb said, you know, we need our artists. And I know it's been an especially hard 2 years for all of you. So I just want people to know that I put my money where my mouth is. So I am just now confirming $10 a month that I
Hey.
am supporting Travis with. And
Thank you,
the
Scott.
way that I do that, as soon as it's done doing his little dance, I'm going to show people he belongs to Patreon. And Patreon is really a wonderful, wonderful way to support our musical artists. Look, I'm now a patron of Travis Puntorelli.
Hey.
And I'm going to get all sorts of good things. I'm really excited about that.
That's right.
So I'm going to go back and show people how to do that. So again, go to Patreon and find the person you want to support. And Kristen Hoffman is there, Nina Gray is there, Cornflower is there, Brooke Medicine Eagle. These are all people I support on Patreon. And but tonight it's all about our balladeer. It's about
Thanks, Scott. And
Travis.
Patreon has seriously been such a help just in my career as coming from a street musician for a long time, and then having Patreon be like the most stable source of income that I had for a while, and just helps me stay connected to everybody that is listening or that cares about it and wants to support in that way. It helps people be connected. And actually the next couple of rounds of Patreon for me are supporting a trip of mine to Ireland to source some songs. I'm going to go listen to fairy songs and see what I can catch out that way. So
Wow, well, we'll look forward to hearing some of those fairy songs in a few months when you get back from Ireland. Sounds great.
Thank you.
Travis, God bless you. You brought such a beautiful spirit to tonight's show. Thank you so much.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks.
All right. Well, the next evolutionary leader that we're going to hear from tonight, and the last one, is Carolyn Meese. And she's been on my shows a few times. Honestly, this is a video that I recorded with her a little while back, but we're going to have a lot more new Carolyn Meese. One of the shows we're going to be doing June 10th through the 12th is called Authors That We Love. And we're going to have Matt Kahn live. We're going to have Andrew Harvey, Carolyn Meese, Catherine Woodward Thomas, and several others. So it's going to be a fun weekend of meeting authors that we love. But for right now, let's hear Carolyn is one of the wonderful contributors to our Moment of Choice. And here's a short little snippet just to remind you of just how wonderful she is.
And it wasn't until I really started to look at why people don't heal, and then why don't people heal, and then how can people heal, and until my life took a journey into the nature of the soul, until I looked at the significance of now, of this time we're living in a huge cosmic way, the profound significance of what it is to be alive now, the privilege it is to be alive even in this chaos, but especially in this chaos, to understand that a biospiritual ecological theology is being born. And it is one in which the question of peace, why is peace so difficult? Why, when all these years of teaching, and I have asked people, what is it you're seeking? And they'll say, I'm seeking peace. I'd like my life to be more peaceful. Why is that so difficult? Why has that been such a hard, such a goal that is so way out there, when in fact, if we treasure love and peace so much, why are those the two things that send us into therapy? Why are those the two things that have us forever in despair? And I finally realized that the task comes down to becoming a perfectly healthy you. That peace is not a matter of an issue out there. There'll always be issues out there, always. My background is in theology and in military history, the study of war and the study of God. And I've concluded that we all go to war at some point. We go to war with ourselves, we go to war with others, that conflict is in our DNA, and that we have to resolve conflict within ourselves. We have to take ourselves on. That in order to create peace, we have to first settle why we create conflict within ourselves, within a relationship, within the relationships of those we love. Why we have to win at all costs, why we have to get that last word in, why we have to be right, why we have to, what we will risk for the sake of our ego. And at the end, if I had the time to take this all and give you a crash course on health, I would tell you that your body and your spirit, your whole bio-spiritual ecological system that is you, your microplanet, breathes together with the macro planet. And that one of the greatest health foods you can feed yourself toward peace and unity for everyone is humility, is to become a humbler person, is to decide this isn't worth a conflict. This isn't that important. I'm not that important. I'm to really humble up, to really begin to live a humble life on this earth. That is, for me, one of the true contributions to yourself, to your body, to your mind, to your inner world, of what generates health and what generates peace and what generates tranquility in yourself and in how you see the world and in how you then treat others and how you respond to others. That this is the way in which we begin to generate an atmosphere of peace and tranquility around us, is by beginning to live in a more humble frame of mind that says, and to not fear being humiliated by following our soul's guidance.
Mm-hmm. Love Carolyn. I want
a wise woman.
Very wise woman. I want to acknowledge I made a mistake. I thought she was part of our moment of choice, and so I gave false information. There are 43 great authors that don't include Carolyn Meese, but certainly could have. Next time.
Well, you're going to be interviewing what, 4 more tomorrow morning?
Yeah. So thank you. That's a good lead in to remind everybody that, tomorrow morning we've got a really beautiful conclusion to this weekend. Bob Atkinson, Diane Williams, Reverend Sylvia Sumter, and pinch hitting for Reverend Deb is going to be Justin Fearman, who's a really dynamic young man. So please do join us tomorrow morning, 10 o'clock Pacific, 1 o'clock Eastern. It's going to be a wonderful way to complete the weekend. And what a weekend it's been, Deb.
Oh, thank you so much, Scott, for making this possible and bringing together the Global Peace Tribe. These are the people who are going to make this moment of choice meaningful here on planet Earth. And I love that Carolyn May says, let's be humble about it.
Yes.
We're each one of what is it now? Are we up to 8 billion people, or however many on this planet? And yet we are also one species, and we are connected through our consciousness. So everything that we do, every choice that we make, makes a difference to the whole. So thank you so much for letting us celebrate this weekend our paperback release of Our Moment of Choice. I want to encourage people to go to ourmomentofchoice.com and consider getting the book. Consider it for school libraries, for your book club. It's perfect for a book club because you can just read these sections or chapters. It's very easy. And I think that there's something in this book for everybody.
I can't believe we actually didn't go to the website yet. There it is, ourmomentofchoice.com. And really, let's support this incredible book. Please order your copy now. Just go. And look, you can get it from Beyond Words, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, or IndieBound.
And it's also available as an audiobook.
So there you go. Let's definitely get it. I'm agreeing to sign up to emails. Always important to do that. So thank you. And we've got some really wonderful Awakening World shows coming up. And next weekend, it's going to be all about deep healing. We are bringing on board some world-class healers. And the theme is healing practices to achieve deeper intimacy. And once again, we're collaborating with Jennifer K. Hill, another evolutionary leader.
Yes.
And her wonderful organization, omheals.com. Friday night, we're going to be really looking at how we can work on some of our intimacy issues in relationship. We're going to be looking at the science of attachment and the art of mastering self-intimacy. Saturday night is all people from Om Heals. And then on Sunday morning, we've got Josie Ann. I think she's actually watching right now. An amazing doctor who is quite brilliant at understanding many of the pathways to healing some of our deepest wounding around racism and sexual abuse. And a wonderful couple that I've worked with for years. They're powerful. And they're going to give a demonstration of how, again, to uncover some of the deep patterning for resolution and healing. So it's going to be a very powerful weekend. So please do join us next weekend for the Awakening World. Rev Deb, I love you so much. I love working with you. And we're now going to turn over to Omashar, who's going to close us out with some music.
Wow, beautiful. Goodness me, a bit of humility here. It's my middle name, Omashar, humility, whatever. And this song is called Just When. The earlier song was called One Heart, One Mind, One Soul. And just as a plug for me, that was from my Flower of Life album. And this is called Just When. And all of the lyrics within my songs are basically me talking to divine consciousness or me hearing divine consciousness speaking to me. And this song called Just When, I was having a glum time sometime in the last couple of years, and I was dragging my bottom lip, and this voice came to me, and it just said, your trust in life has been exposed, and this is what I've got to say about it. And so I'm just going to sing this song. It's without any bells and whistles. It's a fun song. I really enjoy playing it. I haven't recorded it yet, so it will be on my next album, which is called Lightness of Being. How about that? Me. Just when you think that all is lost, and the curtain looks to fall, perhaps it's just the song of home that calls, and your trust in life exposed. No need to sit around and mope. Where there is love, there's always hope. Trust in your life and you will see that you reflect as me. Another day is here for you to live, and I'll walk it through with you. There is no doubt your heart is pure and true, so I came to remind you. No need to sit around and mope. Where there is love, there's always hope. Trust in your life and you will see that you reflect as me. I am in all that you will see. Have trust in your life and trust in me. Dust yourself down and I'll lift you up. I will fill your loving cup. Just when you thought that all was lost, I came to remind you. No need to sit around and mope. Where there is love, there's always hope. Trust in your life and you will see that you reflect as me.
Oh, fantastic.
Always fun.
Omoshara is beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
Thank you for inviting me, and thank you for all of us on this program this weekend. Holy smoke, we are lifting.
Yeah, it was a very powerful show. Very powerful. And you've become such an important part. I'm going to go to gallery view just to close this out so we can see everybody who's still got their camera on. Rev Deb, love you so much. Thank you, Debbie Johnston. Safe flight tomorrow to North Carolina. Travis, Alan Steinfeld, Kurt Johnson, and of course, Connie. Thank you so much, everybody. Hope to see you tomorrow morning on the Sacred Sunday Show. Take care, everybody, and have a beautiful, beautiful evening. Good night.